In February 1998, the Florida Marlins were the defending World Series champions. By that same October, they had lost 108 games, a collapse from 92 wins to 54, a swing of 38 games in a single season. No team in baseball history had ever dismantled itself so completely, so soon after reaching the top. This is the story of how one owner took a world championship and turned it into a fire sale. To understand the fall, you need to understand how impossible the rise was. The Florida Marlins didn't exist until 1993, an expansion team in a state with no baseball history, no established stars, and crowds that often numbered in the tens of thousands for a city of millions. For 4 seasons, they were the league's punchline. And then came 1997. General Manager Dave Dombrowski had quietly built something nobody expected. Not a collection of superstars, but a roster of hungry veterans and unproven kids who shared one belief, that they were never supposed to win. And in 1997, they became the first wildcard team in baseball history to reach the World Series.
Yes, he can. Called strike 3. The 3-2 pitch with 1 out. He's not going. Got a called strike. A deep drive to right. Ramirez on the run. Makes the catch. Tagging is a move. Game 7 of the World Series is tied.
It went to extra innings. In the bottom of the 11th, with 2 outs and the bases loaded, a 21-year-old shortstop named Edgar Renteria lined a single up the middle. The ball skipped past the infield. The run scored. The stadium detonated. Florida was the champion of the world. And standing at the trophy presentation, smiling for every camera, was the man who would soon tear it all apart. Owner Wayne Huizenga. Here's the part of the story people forget. Wayne Huizenga was never a baseball man. He was a businessman, the billionaire who had bought Blockbuster, who built companies to sell them. To him, the championship had served its purpose. The trophy was a marketing expense, now fully depreciated. Huizenga claimed the franchise had lost tens of millions of dollars, a figure some analysts have since disputed. But what he did next is not disputed. He decided the only way to fix the ledger was to liquidate the roster. The championship team, every one of them, became inventory. Then the fire sale began. Moises Alou, the World Series MVP, traded. Gary Sheffield, the superstar slugger, traded. Bobby Bonilla, Kevin Brown, Jeff Canine, Rob Nen, the closer, 2 starting pitchers, the entire starting outfield. In a single offseason, the Marlins traded away nearly the entire championship core for prospects nobody had heard of, all to cut payroll.
Huizenga even put the franchise itself up for sale. He bought the championship, cashed in the value, and now he was trying to walk away. The players who had just won it all were left to spend the season in front of empty seats, wearing a uniform that no longer meant what it.
Before I show you how bad it got, if you want more stories of the decisions that destroyed sports empires, hit subscribe. We're just getting started. Now, the aftermath. The 1998 season was brutal. The defending world champions finished 54-108, the worst record in the league, 38 games worse than the year before. From the mountaintop to the cellar in one summer. The team that had conquered the world couldn't stay out of the basement. The fans, who had waited years for a winner, watched it vanish. And here's the cruelest part. There was no injury crisis, no salary cap forcing their hand, no scandal. Just one man's decision that a world championship wasn't worth the payroll. The damage wasn't accidental. It was deliberate.
Ball again. Posada, slow roll the right side. Beckett picks it out, tags Posada, and the Florida Marlins are world champions. The Marlins have stunned the Yankees, shot New York. And this improbable team,
But here's where the story refuses to end the way you'd expect. In 2003, the Marlins won the World Series again. And then the exact same playbook ran again. The new owner won it all, then sold the roster for parts, the same fire sale, the same empty stadiums, the same collapse. Because once a franchise learns that a championship is a liquidation event, that becomes the culture. In 10 years, the Marlins won 2 World Series and lost more than 200 games in between, dismantling themselves at the peak twice on purpose. That's not bad luck, that's a system. Looking back, it came down to 3 mistakes. First, he treated fans as consumers, not owners. Huizenga built the team to flip it, so he never invested in the relationship that keeps a fan base alive. When the championship arrived, he had no emotional capital to spend, only inventory. Second, he prioritized the ledger over the long game. He saw the roster as a cost center instead of the asset that created the value. Cutting payroll to 40 cents on the dollar didn't save the franchise, it branded it. The Marlins became the team nobody could trust, and attendance never fully recovered. Third, he misread the lesson of his own success. He thought the championship proved his model worked. In reality, it proved the model had a time bomb in it. Where other owners would have ridden a dynasty for a decade, he detonated it in one offseason and proved to every future owner that you could get away with it.
The 1-1 pitch. A deep drive to right. Ramirez on the run. Makes the catch. Tagging is Alou. Game 7 of the World Series is tied.
So what's the lesson? Huizenga didn't destroy the Marlins because he was incompetent. He destroyed them because he was never really there for the baseball at all. A world championship was a line item on his balance sheet. And when you treat the thing fans love as a business transaction, the fans, the real owners of the game, are the ones who pay the price. 272 days from champions to broken. Remember that the next time someone tells you the game is just about winning. If this story stayed with you, subscribe and tell me in the comments, would you have kept the roster or made the same call? That's the question every owner has to answer.